We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Tuesday, January 27th here in Seoul. I'm Isujin, and this is News Generation. And joining us today is Grace.
Great to be here.
Great to have you. Also, Niles with us.
Yeah, happy to be here.
And both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. So we're on the second day of the week, and that's usually when you start settling into the rhythm of the week and noticing what's popping up everywhere. So today we're diving into trends, and it's no exaggeration to say one food has completely taken over social media and cafes lately, and it's called Dubai Chewy Cookies. So Grace, have you tried them yet? And why do you think people are so obsessed with them?
Yeah, I've tried the Dubai Chewy Cookies, or we call them tujonku in Korean, and they're all the craze lately. This trendy dessert combines crispy kadaif and a chewy pistachio spread filling wrapped in chocolate marshmallow, and I'd say the texture is really chewy like rice cakes or tteok, which Koreans love. And then plus you get this crunchy texture from the kadaif filling that make it all the more unique and all the more delicious. The only downside is that it's around $5 to $6 for a single piece, so it is quite pricey. But it seems like the younger generations aren't sparing their money to divulge in this dessert, even, waiting in long lines, making reservations in advance to get their hands on some.
As you saw on the screen, they're also very small, so it's quite pricey considering the size of it. And there's also like a lot of variations I've noticed. Like I've had one, like a gelato, Dubai chocolate chewy gelato, and those are also quite expensive, but they're so good though. So
delicious.
What are your thoughts on this trend?
You know what? I actually looked into it though, but the original cost of making this is so high that sometimes it comes out to maybe like 4,700 Korean won.
I see.
So it being $5 maybe dollars, it's not super overpriced is what experts say, but I've had it too. My friend brought it over and I thought it's just a dessert. How good can it possibly be? And yes, I was wrong. I keep thinking about it day and night, and there's now limits on how many you can order per person. But like I said, it's from the Dubai chocolate, and that was a boom a few years ago. Has the kadaif filling in it as well. It's kind of crunchy and soft on the outside, so it's very addicting.
Like you said, I was kind of surprised that it kind of made a comeback. You said, like you mentioned, the chocolate was popular. Now it's like the chewy cookie, and actually that's exactly what makes it a small, more affordable luxury. It's pricey enough to feel special, but still something people are willing to try at least once. So we're going to talk more about this, but first, let's take a look at the screen. When a trend takes off, it's almost impossible not to want to be part of it, even when you know it won't last forever. And items like Dubai Chewy Cookies haven't just gone viral, they have become must-tries. What many of these trends have in common is the price. They're expensive, but not to the point of being unattainable. Today on News Generation, we take a closer look at this type of consumption, why affordable luxuries have become a defining trend among the younger generation, other trends that have gained popularity, and whether this trend is spreading beyond Korea. As we just saw in the video, smaller, more affordable luxuries are everywhere, from what we eat to how we treat ourselves, especially among younger consumers. So let's start there. Grace, so why do you think small luxury spending has become such a defining trend among young people?
Well, the sluggish economy and unemployment crisis among millennials and Gen Z have made it difficult to purchase expensive luxury goods. And on top of that, the weak Korean won and high exchange rates are also making overseas travel more difficult than before. And because of this, there's a growing preference among younger generations for smaller, more premium products that aren't as extravagant as big luxury goods, but that still offer a sense of satisfaction.
So that idea really stands out, especially at a time when economic uncertainty and high prices make bigger purchases feel a bit out of reach. So building on that, Naya, how do obviously prices and emotional factor, have an impact on how people are making their spending decisions?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Grapes mentioned the economic hardships that we're all going through. So, spending $5,000 on a luxury bag versus $5 on a luxury dessert, I mean, it seems more affordable, more approachable, and the whole feel-good economy aspect of it, the trend among the millennials and Gen Z, it really matches up with the spirit of, I think, hashtag YOLO is out now, but it has been the basis of this generation because we want to do things that really satisfy our emotions over the actual cost effectiveness of it, but we're saying that we value our emotions and the current state of happiness over the long term of it.
Right, and that's a great point. It's not about owning something expensive, but about how a purchase makes you feel in the moment. So beyond viral food items, so what are some other examples of small luxuries we're seeing people buy, Grace?
Actually, during the Christmas and holiday season, cakes from high-end hotel chains were really popular. And while cakes in normal, typical bakeries here in Korea cost around 30,000 to 40,000 won, these limited time hotel bakery cakes can cost 10 times as much at over 300,000 won. And despite the high cake prices, lots of people still submitted their pre-orders for these luxury cakes. And I'd also like to mention that it's strawberry season here in Korea. So hotels are starting to offer strawberry buffets. And this has now become like this seasonal event held every winter and early spring. And admission is around $100 per person. But due to the high volume of visitors, reservations are required in advance, especially on weekends.
The fact that it's hard to make reservations is insane considering the price of these things. So it's interesting how these experiences are also often seasonal or limited, which seems to make them feel even more special and worth the price. So now, are there other categories where this small luxury trend is becoming more evident?
Right. So rather than buying luxury items like the bags that I mentioned that cost several million won, consumers are more interested in purchasing the smaller luxury, like in cosmetics, that can be purchased for maybe tens of thousands of won instead. And in Korea, the market for premium cosmetics like high-end lipstick or perfumes is steadily growing. Let's take a look at this graph. Imports on perfumes and cosmetics were valued at 66,700 US dollars per ton back in 2021, but it rose to 71,300 US dollars by 2024. So that shows an increase of 7.4%. And the rise in ton value is due to the growing preference of people preferring these high-end fragrances and smaller cosmetics rather than going for the bigger luxury items. And expensive alcoholic beverages are also in, like whiskey and brandy, popular amongst the young generation. But it's interesting because millennials and Gen Z are known to drink a little less in comparison to the older generation, but they actually do purchase a lot more of the expensive. So quantity, quality, so maybe quality is what we value.
I'm glad you mentioned cosmetics because I'm also kind of guilty of following this trend because I find this like to be a decent gift because you can still give them a really nice high-end gift,
right?
And it's still somewhat comparatively more affordable.
Yeah.
Right. So what's interesting is that while young consumers are often described as spending less overall, they're clearly willing to pay more for quality, meaning, and personal satisfaction. So it shows how consumption today is driven less by quantity and more by experience and emotion. So to take a closer look, we asked viewers on the Arirang News YouTube channel, why do people choose to spend on small luxury items? So here's what the results showed. The largest share of respondents, 35%, said they are drawn to small luxuries because they want luxury brands but can't afford larger purchases. This was followed closely by 33% who said quality matters more than quantity. And 21% cite the appeal of guaranteed satisfaction, while 11% said they spend on small luxury simply because it's a trend. So what stands out here is that the results largely line up with what we've been talking about, how affordability doesn't always mean compromise anymore. For many, small luxuries are a way to access quality and brand value without the burden of big purchases. So to get a first-hand experience, we're going to talk to someone in Korea who has made such purchases. And that conversation will take place right after the break, so don't go anywhere.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search out Channel Arirang News. Click Posts and cast your vote in the poll. Make a new type of news with us.
So joining us today is Kyle, a young person in Korea who enjoys purchasing luxury items that would be classified as more affordable. So hello, Kyle. Thank you so much for connecting with us today.
Hello, guys. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. So how have you personally taken part in this small or more affordable luxury trend here in Korea?
I would say like for the most of the part, I purchase a lot of perfumes from luxury brands, but like, perfumes that cost around like $200. So like compared to like luxury bags that like we need to spend like $2,000, which is way more cheaper, but still like enjoy the experience of luxury brand and also the tuchonku that you guys talked about. If that counted as the small luxury trends, then I definitely participated. It was an overwhelming experience. Yeah, it was too much.
Okay, then
yeah.
Kyle, why do you think that spending on affordable luxury items has become so popular among young people?
I think you guys got the right point earlier about the inflation. Like I think the most, things that people saying recently is like economy these days. Every time we try to purchase stuff, so the inflation definitely hit us hard. That's kind of like make it impossible to find and like purchase expensive stuff. But for luxury brands, we still want to, reward ourselves after a long day. So for that sense, people still want to like purchase some of the things they want, not what they need. And other part is like I think like just flashing logos out is not really trends anymore. So people really don't need to buy luxury stuff that like showing off, it's like the logos are out there. So the trends, that the logo scene is like now is pretty dying, and then the inflation combined. So now people looking for more small luxury stuff, I guess.
Last question for you, Kyle. Is there a luxury item or food, I guess, that you haven't tried that you're willing to try and want to try?
Oh, definitely. Okay, it looks kind of nerd, but I love plushies like this. And then if you notice, there's so many luxury brands that are making their own plushies. Like I don't know if I can say the name of the brands, but if you look it up on like search engine, then you'll get to see the luxury brands that like making plushies that cover their logos. So which is pretty like affordable compared to their luxury bags. So I would love to participate if that become a trend. Yeah. The plushies.
All right.
I'm actually also, as an only child, a huge fan of stuffed animals and plushies, so I will be checking that out.
Yeah, like you'll get to see them covered with logos, and like if you put it on your desk, like after a long day, you come back home, then like you want someone to hug to. That plushie is my thing.
Sounds like a lot of benefits. All right, thank you so much for sharing your insight with us today, Kyle.
Thank you so much.
So we've just heard from a young person in Korea about the rise of small and affordable luxury items, what he's tried and why he spends on them, and on the small luxuries that he still wants to experience. But this isn't just a Korea-only phenomenon. So Grace, are we seeing the small luxury trend take off overseas as well?
Yeah, actually, small luxuries are also trending in the US. Generally, the American middle class also prefers premium, well-made products that offer tangible satisfaction while remaining more affordable than high-end designer brands. And I think that, like Niall mentioned before, there's this psychological factor to it too, where small luxuries like premium coffee, desserts, perfume, and lipstick offer an emotional fulfillment in our redundant day-to-day lives. And therefore, we're seeing this affordable premium market expand not only here in Korea, but in the US as well.
That's interesting how it's even happening in the US, where it's known to have a bigger market as well. So people are really turning to smaller, more accessible premium items for everyday joy. So now how does this trend translate to right here in Asia? like other countries following this trend?
Yeah, actually, small luxury is also trending in China. Small luxury market in China is actually the largest in Asia, about 4 times bigger than that of Korea's. And in Japan, you can actually see these small luxury trends in people's traveling choices. So even if you can't travel abroad, people in Japan would opt for very luxurious experiences within the country domestically. So if they can't travel abroad, do something even nicer, but within the country.
I think it's really cool how the same idea shows up in such different ways, from products in China to also people just going for domestic travel in Japan as well. So taking all this into account, so how should we view small luxury consumption? Is it simply a reaction to tough economic conditions, or can it amount to something really positive?
Well, I can definitely relate to how the small luxury items offer stress relief and a sense of satisfaction, especially right now in a time where we have to tighten our belts and live in a more frugal manner. And I'm even looking forward to my tuchonku fix sometime this week. That is, if I can beat the long lines. And I think that's okay as long as it doesn't grow into like an excessive habit where you're spending just as much as you would on one luxury item, rather than, lots of small premium products.
I agree. What about you, Niall?
You know what? I have that Dubai Chewy cookie waiting for me in my fridge. So it gives me that dopamine kick that I need throughout the day and the week. And you know what? If it's a sweet dessert, it's so hard to say no to. And it's so small. And it won't drive me to bankruptcy this year or next. But here is something that I do keep telling myself. If I feel so comfortable spending it on these small things, my spending frequency and the amounts could actually start to increase. So that's something that we should all watch out for when it comes to small luxuries. We do deserve our treats, but do so accordingly.
Right, it's not good to go overboard. In the end, small luxury isn't just about spending, it's about how people cope, find meaning, and create moments of joy in an uncertain economy. So as long as this uncertainty continues, it looks like small luxury spending is set to remain a defining feature of how young generations consume. It's a trend that shows how valued today. It's less about owning more and more about feeling better, even in small ways. And that brings us to the end of today's episode of News Generation. But News Gen will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time with more stories and discussions. And big thanks to Grace.
Thanks for having me today.
And also Niall.
No problem.
And to our viewers, thank you so much for joining us. And we hope you have the best day. We are News Generation.